Hey guys, it's Aria from MMOs.com doing a quick weekly news recap of all major MMO news and announcements for the week ending September 30th, 2019. This is episode number 219 of the recap, and the first of news this week comes from Astellia, which officially launched today after being available for a week in Founders Beta. Now, there really haven't been that many MMORPG launches this year, so Astellia is one of the few traditional MMORPGs that actually launched in 2019. The game is buy to play for a one-time cost of $40 and also playable for a $10 a month subscription. The monthly fee is a cheaper alternative to buying it and more of a kind of like a trial to try the game out to see if you like it. But if you actually like the game, there's no reason to keep paying that fee. With the buy-to-play model, the game has changed significantly from its Korean version, as the Western version has no general lock classes. The dungeon tickets in the game are available for free in-game, and the cash app is supposed to be fair and won't have any pay-to-win elements, at least that's what they say. Players can also look forward to new legendary dungeons and the new open-world battleground of Avalon in the upcoming content updates, as well as new Estelles. I actually like playing this one in the closed beta, but I'm hesitant to recommend it only because it's a buy-to-play game. As a free-to-play game, I would have recommended Astellia, but buy-to-play, I'm a bit more on the fence. Next up, Korean developer Mantisco opened up alpha testing signups for the ARPG Battle Royale MOBA hybrid called Hunters Arena Legends, with alpha testing to run from October 5th to 6th and October 11th to 13th. The alpha test will be limited to 4,000 players only and will feature a 60-player free-for-all battles. The idea of an ARPG Battle Royale and MOBA hybrid seems very odd. It's almost like the studio behind the game was like, oh crap, we missed the MOBA hype train and the Battle Royale hype train. What if we combine both? At least they're trying something a bit newish, I guess. I'm nowhere on the business model just yet on this one, though I suspect it'll probably be free to play. The game describes itself as on Steam as having monster hunting, leveling, dungeon raiding, party play, PvP, and more. They claim to fit all of the fun MMORPG elements into 30-minute matches. Anyway, at least it's trying to be a bit different. Up next, Chinese developed fantasy MMORPG Eternal Magic officially launched the open beta this week. I did first review for this one already, and to be honest, it's not awful. But then again, I do enjoy playing these obscure MMORPGs. Since launching into open beta, the full game world is now available for anyone to explore, and the max level cap is now 60. The game builds itself as an old school MMORPG. I'm not quite sure what's old school about it though. It's a very standard MMORPG that looks and plays a bit like Allods Online or Runes of Magic, but without the innovative multi-classing system. I mean, visually, it very clearly took a lot of elements from World of Warcraft, so I'm not sure why it's exactly an old school MMORPG, but that's how they build themselves. Next up, the Elder Scrolls Legends, a collectible card game based on Elder Scrolls, is launching its Jaws of Oblivion expansion October 8th, and it's themed around Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. The expansion adds 75 new cards, the new Invade mechanic, 2 new theme decks, a new playmat, 4 new card backs, new music, and more. While Hearthstone is by far the #1 digital card game in the world, games like Shadowverse, Magic the Gathering Arena, and Elder Scrolls Legends are trying to grab a piece of that pie. Though Elder Scrolls Legends isn't particularly big at the moment. The game only averages about 650 or so players online at any given time on Steam, and with the Elder Scrolls name, you'd think it'd be a bit bigger. Up next, the nomadic survival MMO Last Oasis pushed back its early access date for the second time and is now expected to launch into early access in Q1 of 2020. The reason provided for the delay was so they could refine the gameplay and add more content, as well as do some balance changes. Prior to this most recent delay, Last Oasis was set to launch in early October, and the game builds itself as a survival MMO. I suspect it'll be more like Conan Exiles, but then again, they do clearly say that Last Oasis combines global player-driven economies, a vehicle system, as well as complex combat and war mechanics all on an MMO scale on their Steam page. I wonder how this will actually work though. Every survival MMO that's tried to have MMO scale has been a flop so far. They usually end up being too complex. That game from Amazon Studios, New World, for example, doesn't seem to have any kind of release date just yet, and the Life is Feudal MMO game averages only 600 or so players online on Steam, which isn't bad, but it's because the game went free to play. I love the concept of the MMO survival game, but so far no one's really cracked the code just yet. I love the concept, and we'll see if Last Oasis can pull it off. Next up, Dauntless 1.0 officially launched with a new expansion titled Aether Unbound, which introduces the combo-heavy Aether Striker's weapon, the new bounty system, a new hunt pass, the new Dire Behemoth, and more. And more interestingly though, with the launch of this update, Dauntless has officially reached 15 million players worldwide. This headline figure isn't particularly useful as it counts anyone who tried the game out and isn't a reflection of active players, but it's still quite an impressive figure. And Dauntless is really the only free-to-play Monster Hunter-like game out there, and it's available on PC, PS4, and Xbox One, all with cross-platform support. I would like to see a concurrent player figure eventually. I'm pretty sure the game has a really high player base, but like active player base, but we don't know that quite yet. Up next, Project C closed alpha testing officially starts sometime in October. Project C, for those that haven't heard of this one, is a Canadian-developed spatial OS-powered open-world MMO, currently codenamed Project C, and yes, it is spatial OS-powered, so that alone makes me a bit skeptical. To get to closed alpha, you need to pay $150 for a Founders Pack, which according to the developer is actually on sale and quite a great deal apparently, as it includes $300 worth of in-game goodies. Regardless of what you think about Project C, I don't recommend anyone pay $150 to get into any alpha ever, let alone a spatial OS-powered game, as we've seen just how poorly these spatial OS-powered games have done in the past. Still, $150 for alpha just seems a bit sketch to me. And what makes it even more sketch is that even though they have an alpha coming up in early October, there's no actual gameplay video for this one, so you're only seeing their homepage being looped in the background right now. Yeah, no actual gameplay footage or anything, but they want $150 for that closed alpha. Next up, Tera is concluding its Skywatch series of updates with the upcoming Skywatch Aerial Island update, which is scheduled to launch sometime in October. And including the update is 4 new quest zones with new BAMs, new and updated dungeons, new gear, and more. To help players prepare for the new content update, Tera is hosting numerous in-game events that speed things along. Namely, there's a leveling event happening from now until October 15th, and a few other events as well. Tera, along with Black Desert and Blade and Soul, are really still the only action MMORPGs out there with persistent worlds, so if you never played it, give it a try. And now speaking of Black Desert Online, the game on the PS4 just launched its second major update, which introduced Awakening, Valencia, and 2 new classes. The PC version, of course, has had all this content update already, but the PS4 version is still catching up, and catching up pretty quickly to the PC version. There's nothing new here for PC users, but it's a huge update for the PS4 version. And while we have no official data just yet, I suspect that Black Desert Online is doing quite well on the PS4, mainly because it's an action MMORPG, and it lends itself to pretty good support with a PS4 controller. And given that it's so far behind from the PC version, there's obviously no crossplay. In fact, the PS4 version, the Xbox version, and the PC version are all separate versions of the game, which is a bit odd. It would have been nice to have a crossplay platform, but unfortunately that is not the case. Next up, Legends of Aria, the Ultima Online and RuneScape inspired buy-to-play MMORPG, permanently reduced their pricing from $30 to $20 in a $10 price cut. In its core, Legends of Aria is a lot like Shroud the Avatar or Ultima Online, so it's not exactly a unique game, but there aren't too many games like this nowadays. They also introduced a new premium subscription and a cash shop as a new way to monetize players. Given the game's relatively small player base, I think this change actually makes sense. Get more people into the door with a lower price. Ideally, they should have made the game free to play and monetize with the cash shop, as the game does need more players. It currently averages only just 275 players online at a given time on Steam alone, but it's available off Steam as well, but it would benefit from more players. Up next, Ashes of Creation Apocalypse, the free-to-play Battle Royale version of Ashes of Creation, launched in early access on Steam this last week to mostly negative reviews, which would surprise absolutely nobody, as I ranted about this game in previous podcasts and in previous news recap videos. It's one of the buggiest and most awful Battle Royale games I've ever played, but hey, if you want to play a janky Battle Royale game, it won't cost you anything to give it a try. The game averages about 325 or so players online, but I suspect this number will be declining in the near future, as players are just playing the game right now out of curiosity. If Ashes of Creation Apocalypse is an indication of what Intrepid Studios is capable of making, it doesn't bode well for the actual Ashes of Creation MMORPG. As again, Ashes of Creation Apocalypse is one of the worst Battle Royale games I've played, and I've played a lot of janky Korean and Chinese ones as well. Next up, the Tunisian indie game studio New Cockroach, quite a name I know, and that's a new free-to-play top-down PvP shooter game with cartoony graphics called Veterans Online. I'm not expecting too much from this game, but it is free-to-play and launching into early access later this fall, so it's not too far away. It'll have customizable skins, characters, mounts, taunts, and more. Not exactly an MMO, but how often do you hear about a Tunisian indie game studio? Not very often. In fact, I bet most people can't spot Tunisia on a map. I know I can't. Up next, ReEvolve, the mobile fantasy MMORPG developed by Perfect World Entertainment, first unveiled in E3 2018, is apparently still in development after falling off everyone's radar. The game promises immersive environments, day and night cycles, changing weather, realistic animal behaviors, including food chains and migrations. It has player housing, base building, animal breeding, gathering, and more. The game is aimed at both English and Chinese markets, but missed its initial release dates in the past, but is still in development apparently, and you can check out the newest trailer in the background. And based on the video in the background, this actually kind of reminds you of Dawn of Isles, the MMORPG from NetEase. Given that it's a Chinese mobile MMORPG, expect autoplay elements for sure. Now, speaking of mobile games, the next and last news this week is also mobile related. The first pre-alpha footage for the upcoming mobile MMORPG Warhammer Odyssey is now available. The game is developed by a studio called Virtual Realms and will be launching next year. Not too much is known about this game just yet, but it is clearly an MMORPG based on Warhammer, and the trailer looks just fine. I'm just kind of hoping it doesn't have those same autoplay elements that we've seen in so many MMORPGs in the past, because I think a good Warhammer MMORPG could do well. But again, mobile games, so not sure what to expect. Or rather, I know exactly what to expect, but I'm hoping to get something else, if that makes sense. Anyway, guys, that's it for my news this week. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the podcast. Later, guys.